Back out comes Excadrill into the loaded Empoleon. We farm up, fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will be forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield, and we're going to pivot out, catching the double resisted Drill Run onto our second Dragon. Welcome back to the channel. One of my favourite cups is back, Master League Premier Cup. I absolutely love this format because without them big legendaries, Shadow Pokemon are pretty good. Today we're going to be showcasing a classic, tried and tested team that's more commonly seen in the Ultra League Premier Cup, with Empoleon and double dragons in the back. Yes, I'm aware Gyarados isn't a dragon type, but it looks like one and mine is running Legacy Dragon Tail. So the idea of the team is the steel type in the lead is going to count on any fairy types. We're going to say switch into Gyarados. Not being a dragon is going to be quite favourable if a fairy comes in, because we're not going to be taking super effective damage. Kill it with Empoleon and allow Dragonite to sweep the back line. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we'll lead the Steel Penguin into Annihilape. No thank you. I'm going to save switch into Gyarados. The opponent looks to stay in, likely looking to chip and dip, as they might not have the best Gyarados answer. The opponent fires off the Night Slash. Night Slash doesn't do too much damage, and out comes the big thick boy, Shadow Snorlax. Snorlax instantly greeted with the Crunch, fishing for that debuff. Unfortunately, we don't get a debuff, but Crunch does land for some very solid chip damage. The opponent continues to farm up, allowing Gyarados to fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail forces us early shield advantage. The opponent overfarms before firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam from this range will be securing the knockout. Gyarados has put the big thick boy in a range where we can Steel Wing farm down. Most Snorlax don't run Superpower, but I've got a sneaky feeling this one might. And luckily for me, the opponent is running Superpower and I invest a very huge Protect Shield. Back out comes the Enraged 8. We've got the Drill Peck locked and loaded. The opponent shows no respect, get rocked down to round a third health. We pivot into Dragonite and Disaster Struck as they've got Florges in the back. This is such a dreadful matchup, especially running the recommended moveset. Of course, you could run Steel Wing. You could even have Hyper Beam or Hurricane. Unfortunately, I'm pretty basic and I have none of them tools to deal with this Florges. Now all down to the Penguin to clean up. The roles have now been reversed. Dragonite was completely helpless and now it's Florges the one that can only hit for resisted. We tank the Moonblast. We're forced to shield up the Disarming Voice. Empoleon rapidly running out of HP. We get the full Steel Wing farm down. Back out comes Annihilape. The first Drill Peck will be forcing the final protection. The opponent looks for that counter farm down. Empoleon says no. Who was worried? We didn't have alignment, but we're going to take that game. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, this time we see the big thick boy up in the lead. As I said previously, Superpower isn't the most common second move. All Snorlax will be running Body Slam, and then it's likely Earthquake or Outrage because of the prevalence of Annihilape. We fire off the Hydro Cannon, pivot into Gyarados, looking to check or bait out any potential fairy. The opponent chip us with the Body Slam, and as if by magic, out comes Florges. Gyarados not fantastic in this matchup by any means, especially on Legacy Dragon Tail, as Fairy does double resist Dragon. However, we have managed to bait this thing out, so Dragonite now no longer will have to face it. The opponent fires off the Moonblast, depleting me of my energy, but that just sets up even more farm for the Penguin. Despite my Shadow Penguin being maxed out all the way at level 50, let me tell you, this thing cannot tank a hit for shit. That Moonblast does so much damage. We bang all our energy, pivot into Dragonite. The opponent builds to a potential Outrage, and we don't want to get surprise nuke. We invest a Protect Shield, correctly shield up the Outrage, and out comes Mud Slap Rhyperior, the opponent with 2 Protect Shields, but we're still YOLOing the nuke. Does the opponent respect the damage? The opponent unfortunately invests that Protect Shield, but undeterred, as they're on Mud Slap, a non-stag Breaking Swipe, even with a -1 defense, is not going to knock out. I'm going to overfarm before firing off the Superpower. Superpower 1-stage debuff unfortunately doesn't secure the knockout, but leaves the opponent insanely low. The opponent now in 1 Steel Wing range. This is only a Breaking Swipe. All we've got to do is shield, Steel Wing farm down. We leave doubled up on charge moves. So if Snorlax shields the first move, the second one will be all she wrote. The opponent recognises the game's over, tank the damage, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see the battle of the Steel types. Metagross says no thank you, and we see the save switch from the opponent into Dragonite. We're going to fire off the Drill Peck for some chip and dip action and then send out Gyarados. After landing the Drill Peck, we're going to be able to Dragon Tail farm this all the way down and leave with residual energy good to go. The opponent fires off the Dragon Claw. We tank the damage and leave with over a Crunch bank. If Metagross does return, they are certainly in trouble. The opponent does send back out Metagross. We fire off one Dragon Tail and the Crunch for optimal fast move time and Crunch. Force the Protect Shield. If the opponent looks at the full Bullet Punch farm down, we're going to reach the next Crunch. So the opponent makes a very nice catch. Catching onto Garchomp, Crunch lands. Some solid chip damage and the opponent's on Mud Shot. This is going to be a very difficult Mud Shot farm down despite us being low. We reach the part and Aqua Tail, Switch Timer pops up. I look to snipe with Dragonite. The opponent responds, are we about to get outraged? No, we're not. It's just a double resisted Earth Power and that should pretty much be game over from here. We've got a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Last second, I invest that Protect Shield, thinking fuck it. We may as well look to force the final shield with the Superpower or do big damage. The opponent looked to call the bait. We're not baiting. We Dragon Breath farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see Empoleon into Dragonite. These two usually teammates but facing off against one another. I farm up, look to catch potential Superpower onto Gyarados. The opponent baits with the Dragon Claw and then respond with Togekiss. Once again, we manage to bait out the Fairy. We are going to reach one Aqua Tail. The opponent is going to be able to Charm Farm us all the way down. That is just going to allow Empoleon to come in, get a massive Steel Wing farm down and leave it close to 100 energy. We're going to, of course, send back out the Penguin. We are going to have to shield once in case the opponent's running Aura Spear or Flamethrower. Both will hurt. We've already seen how much a resisted Moonblast did, so Flamethrower certainly would have knocked us out. We get a huge Steel Wing farm down, back out comes Dragonite. We fire off the first Drill Peck, which goes unshielded, but Empoleon says there's plenty more of where that came from. The second Drill Peck forces the Protect Shield and we pivot into our own Dragonite, looking for the snipe. The opponent saved Dragonite at low health and then send out Excadrill, and I think that's a mistake. The opponent should have got off some more Dragon Breath damage. As you can see, we can tank a Rock Slide and there's no need to bait. We can just go straight Superpower all the way. If they would have done slightly more Dragon Breath damage, the Rock Slide would have been threatening, however they did not. So Dragonite is about to vanquish Excadrill, back to its Pokeball, get that mole off my screen. The opponent does Dragon Breath farm us down, but we've still got a Protect Shield, so we're just going to throw the BM Hydro Cannon, because why not? GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see the battle of the Steel types. Hydro Cannon will be one-shot an Excadrill, because much like us, they cannot tank a hit for shit. However, we do get outpaced, so we look to catch the double resisted Drill Run onto our safe switch of Gyarados. Once again, baiting out the ever-annoying Togekiss, aka Togepiss. As much as I hate this stupid tap-tap Charmer, I really can't complain, as we managed to bait it out more or less every battle if the opponent's got one with our safe switch of Gyarados. This next Aqua Tail won't quite be lethal, so I am going to undercharge. Ideally, I would have liked to force the Protect Shield, but even if the opponent doesn't shield, I want to come in, manage to Steel Wing farm down, knowing Excadrill will be putting up shields left, right and centre with a loaded Penguin. We shield at the Flamethrower, commit to the Steel Wing farm down. The opponent does send back out the Steel Mole. We're down a Protect Shield. We're very quickly going to get shield parity. Hydro Cannon force the Protect Shield. We're then going to farm up and look to go 2 for 2 on double resisted Drill Run catches. Poor old Excadrill not finding its target in this battle. The opponent sends out Gyarados to answer our Dragonite, and that looks like CMP. Or the opponent got denied. If it is CMP, that's just game over. We're going to easily be able to tank the Aqua Tail, as Dragon does resist water. We're then going to just Dragon Breath this thing into range where he can Steel Wing farm down, and then we're just going to double Hydro Cannon Excadrill for the dub. This is only Aqua Tail, but Excadrill is energy dry, so I may as well shield something. We do get the Steel Wing farm down. We're now doubled up. You know the drill. The first Hydro Cannon will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote with a Penguin, cleaning up yet another backline. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see some Penguin on Crocodile action. A pretty neutral matchup. The Incinerates hit us for neutral. They resist the Steel Wings, but the Hydro Cannon going to land the big super effective damage. For the Hydro Cannon after 7 Steel Wings for optimal fast move timing. And then pivot into Gyarados once again, looking to bait out any potential Fairy the opponent might have. They throw the Shadow Ball and ouch, that hurts. But once again, we managed to bait out Florges. Gyarados going to do some chip damage, firing off a couple of Aqua Tails, unless the opponent is willing to dump their energy immediately. The opponent opt into Overfarm, allowing us to reach the second Aqua Tail, which puts them into a nice range for the Penguin to be able to Steel Wing farm down and hopefully leave with a Hydro Cannon. Disarming Voice does secure the knockout. We've already seen that a Moonblast does so much damage, so I think I'm actually going to respect this one. Of all the times to shield, would you believe it, the opponent's got Petal Blizzard. Holy cow. Back out comes Skeledirge. Again, we throw 2 Steel Wings and the Hydro Cannon, maintaining our disciplined timing, and the opponents still need to Shadow Ball to secure the knockout. The opponent tries their luck masturbating, killing a poor defenseless cat. Empoleon says, nah, that simply isn't going to get the job done. Hydro Cannon vanquishes them from the battlefield with pivot into Dragonite. The opponent running ABA Fire Ghost. The only win con for them is them throwing the Shadow Ball, me not shielding, so of course we just shield this move up. They force on the Shadow Ball. The opponent then stops attacking, so we're going to very rudely give them the 1 HP BM Boom with a superpower. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Gholdengo in the lead, something that looks like a cheese string. I was kind of thinking, what the hell do I do with this thing? I've got no idea how bulky it is. I don't think I've seen this thing all that commonly. The opponent shields up the Hydro Cannon, of course. We're going to shield up this Shadow Ball. They build to a Focus Blast. Not that you're going to Focus Blast a squishy penguin. Again, we're going to want to throw the next Hydro Cannon. 2-turn into 3-turn. It's 1, 4, or 7. That Hydro Cannon actually did a lot of damage. I'm going to continue to shield as well. And then I'm going to eventually look to snipe them with a Dragon Tail. We shield up the Shadow Ball. We bank the charge move, snipe with Gyarados, banking a boatload of energy and getting a running start. The opponent answers my Gyarados save switch with their own Gyarados. As we snipe Gholdengo, we're going to be able to outpace to the crunch. The opponent reluctant to shield. So obviously looking to save a protect shield for whatever's in the back. I was in two minds when I played this battle. I was thinking, do I want to take him out or do I not? I actually throw the Aqua Tail at the last second, ensuring the opponent's final Pokemon is going to get minimal farm, but I actually lose CMP. So regardless, the opponent isn't going to be able to get any free farm. Instead, we farm down with Dragonite, and out comes Annihilape. I attempt to throw the Dragon Claw on the CMP tie to a potential Ice Punch. The opponent either overfarms or they don't have it. They shield up the Dragon Claw. They should certainly be in Drill Peck range now. We've seen it does around 50%. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball simply doesn't get the job done. We're going to fire off the Dragon Claw. If this isn't lethal, we've got a move bank. So we go for that wham bam combo play, serving up the Big Mac and the fries. And Drill Peck is going to pick up the dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see a regular variant of Snorlax. Of course, I don't expect them to have superpower. We're going to attempt to catch it on the off chance they have got it. This time I opt to chip and dip, firing off the Hydro Cannon first. Then we're going to pivot into Gyarados. The opponent answers my Gyarados save switch with Goodra. Goodra, of course, this season has access to Thunder Punch and is currently ranked as the #1 ranked pick on PvPoke. The opponent shields up the crunch. I'm thinking, are they low enough for me to handle? Probably not, as I don't think a Drill Peck knocks them out quite from that range. We correctly shield the Thunder Punch, reach the second crunch. The second crunch goes unshielded, so we manage to maintain alignment, or at least get to pick what alignment we want. Back out comes Snorlax. Snorlax opts to dump energy, and that's fine for me. Body Slam does secure the knockout. The opponent looks to be in a perfect range. He's coming with Dragonite. They build to an outrage, so we're going to shield once, Dragon Breath farm all the way down and leave a residual energy. The opponent full sends the outrage, then pivot into Excadrill, and this is simply unwinnable for the opponent. One Rock Slide isn't going to be lethal. As we've got an energy lead, we just need to go straight superpower baiting, would be my lose con. If the opponent shields the first, which they do, even with a 1-stage debuff, Excadrill cannot tank a hit from the big, mighty, king of the sky, Shadow Dragonite. Get that Excadrill out of here. We pivot out into the Penguin, and the opponent concedes the match. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Gyarados in the lead. The opponent running Waterfall, so I'm immediately thinking this is going to be that annoying team of Double Charm. So we farm up some energy, catch onto Gyarados, and of course there's the first fairy. This is going to be so rough, as I simply cannot flip switch and I need it at all costs. This team gave my longest win streak of the season. I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, you haven't seen Magnezone yet. Oh, don't worry, it's certainly coming. You can see again, I do undercharge. No, I need all the energy in the world on the Penguin. Dragonite is essentially going to be absolute dead weight. This Penguin is going to need to put in so much work. We shield once, commit to the full Steel Wing farm now. We know Gyarados will be returning, so of course we're going to one and throw the Drill Peck, then one and throw the next. The first Drill Peck forces the Protect Shield. The next Drill Peck lightly goes unshielded. I'm going to pivot into Dragonite because I know the second fairy's coming. And out it comes. Can we win this game? Essentially, Dragonite is going to do absolutely nothing, and the Penguin is going to need to kill all 3 Pokemon. Superpower lands, I'll be honest, for very underwhelming damage. I think watching this back, what I should have done in this battle again is look to catch onto Dragonite rather than just pivot in. Because what that would have allowed me to do is waste Gyarados' energy, and also build up more energy on the Penguin. I look for the Steel Wing farm down. Heartbreakingly, the opponent reaches the disarming voice. Back out comes Gyarados. We throw one Steel Wing and the Drill Peck. They're in Drill Peck range. You're going to see we look to fire off the second but lose CMP, and heartbreakingly the win streak comes to an end against the most annoying team of them all. Oh, that's rough. In the next battle we see Goodra in the lead. If this was last season when most Goodra on Aqua Tail and Power Whip, I would have instantly pivoted into Gyarados, but of course now they've got access to Thunder Punch that is double super effective, so we're going to stay in at least for a little bit and look to get off some chip damage. If the opponent goes straight Thunder Punch, we'll outpace 2 double Drill Pecks, and this is going to be the one niche scenario where we're going to say switch Dragonite. Drill Peck lands, we pivot into Dragonite, and instantly I regret it, as out comes Florges. Dragonite and Gyarados do kind of function the same, with the exception that Gyarados isn't in theory weak to Fairy, but they're both pretty bad as they're both using Dragon type quick moves. So in this case, we're going to hope that Gyarados can clean up rather than Dragonite, which we've been using throughout the video of course. We're just going to send out the Penguin. Hopefully we don't get Petal Blizzard here. We're just going to tank the charge move. The opponent fire off the Moonblast, rocking us very deep into the red, but we are going to be able to get the full Steel Wing farm down. Goodra did exit with a charge move, which they're going to throw immediately, denying my energy. They throw the Thunder Punch, then pivot out into Chandelure. And Gyarados, much like Dragonite, is going to be able to clean up. I am just going to shield whatever the opponent throws. They throw the Shadow Ball. We're going to want to throw the first Aqua Tail. If the opponent shields this, which essentially they have to, what else they're going to shield? We're only one Dragon Tail off the next Aqua Tail. This Aqua Tail, of course, easily going to knock out Chandelure. Look how low we are just from the Dragon Tail damage. We're going to Dragon Tail farm down Goodra and take that game. In the next battle, I said it's coming, and there is the UFO. We are ABA weak to Electric. Or to be honest, we're kind of ABC weak to Electric, as Dragonite isn't great into Magnezone. Although if it was something like a spicy Ampharos, wouldn't be too bad. However, fun fact. Mirror Shot double resisted. The opponent looks to throw the Mirror Shot. The Penguin hangs on, reaches the second Hydro Cannon, and somehow have managed to force both Protect Shields in a dreadful matchup. We're now, of course, going to send out Dragonite. The opponent's already masturbated once. I dare the opponent to Wild Charge. They try their luck of throwing the Mirror Shot. We've got 2 Protect Shields. I'm thinking, surely this one's the Wild Charge. Nope, again we get baited. The opponent then tries their luck at catching a superpower, bank as much energy as I physically can before I get too low on health, and then respond with Gyarados. Of course, we're not shielding anything here. We're going to need to hope that Dragonite can beat whatever's in the back and superpower that UFO at some stage. This is only an Aqua Tail, so again, we don't need to shield. And I actually don't even want to knock them out, as I don't want to give Magnezone any more farm. So I'm actually going to fire off the Crunch, go for a nice, and then stop attacking. The opponent recognises I've stopped attacking. They obviously have realised what I'm planning to do. I'm going to look to try and snipe them at some stage. We're having a weird Mexican standoff. Eventually the opponent does take me out. Switch timer pops up and back out comes the UFO. Of course this is going to be a Mirror Shot. Or at least I thought. The opponent finally sends the Wild Charge, which is going to allow me to knock them out with a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw, even resisted with a lower defense, does secure the knockout. We are so low. Show me something we can nuke. The opponent waiting out their clock asks, and you shall receive. Out comes Excadrill. Excadrill going to be straight in and straight out. Super secures the one-hit KO. We Dragon Breath farm down and take that game. Holy, that was a roller coaster of emotions. In the next battle, we see Annihilape in the lead. We pivot into Gyarados, and again we see Magnezone. Oh boy, they're like London buses. You don't see one at all, and then you see 2 in consecutive battles. Holy, this looks rough. Although we have managed to get him into the red. If you're going to use this team, I think straight Aqua Tail against Magnezone is the way to go, because it could potentially force him to throw, or you'll reach the second move. We send out the Penguin. The opponent full sends the Wild Charge, and now I'm forced to shield this up. The opponent again throw the Wild Charge, and now we need Dragonite to essentially pull off a miracle. The opponent sends out Togekiss, and we're just going to instantly concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Garchomp in the lead. This one is running Dragon Tail, so I guess it isn't that bad a matchup. There are ground and dragon types, so Hydro Cannon is the way to go as it hits for neutral, and that actually did far more than I was expecting. As always, we're going to stick to the game plan, pivoting out into Gyarados to make a very nice catch of the Sand Tomb bait. The opponent lowers my defense, but that charge move essentially healed us, and out comes a Sui and Avalog. This isn't a bad matchup for us, it's kind of neutral. Even with lowered defense, the opponent does need to rock slide. If they ice you in, they're going to be very sad. They throw the ice you in, Gyarados hangs on, reach another Aqua Tail, and the opponent's now going to be forced to shield, or they're going to lose switch. The opponent reluctant to shield, they're going to put it all on Chandelure, a Shadow as well. What a flex, but sorry trainer, this thing is about to get shredded. We're going to look to catch onto the Penguin, knowing Dragonite can easily Dragon Breath down everything. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball. We're going to Dragon Breath farm down Chandelure, Dragon Breath farm down Garchomp, and take that game. Heading into the next battle, another Annihilape in the lead. So we're going to pivot, as always, into Gyarados, and again, we bait out Magnezone. So last time we got wrecked by this team, so we've made the adjustment, recognising straight Aqua Tail is the way to go, as we can potentially make two. Come on, get there, get there. Oof, we just about get there. So this is going to force a shield advantage. We're already sitting in a better spot than the last time we saw this variation of the team. Hopefully it isn't Togekiss in the back, because if it is, we're just going to lose. Again, we're going to sacrifice the Penguin to the Pokegods. The opponent actually throw the Mirror Shot. Are you serious? I was tempted to shield this, however, as Steel and Electric both resist Steel, I'll be unable to Steel Wing farm them down afterwards. So we're just going to put it all on Dragonite. I should have been counting, as I think they probably only had the energy for a Mirror Shot. So that's a pretty poor shield on my part, and out comes Annihilape. But it looks like this one is running Ice Punch, and they are. So I think this essentially is unwinnable. We're going to need a Dragon Claw to knock out from half health. I simply don't think that's going to happen. We're going to try our best. The first Dragon Claw forces the protection. We fire off the next one on the CMP type. Is it enough to knock out? No, it's not. Ice Punch, double super effective. And again, the Annihilape Magnezone core is going to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see another Magnezone. I think this is like 4 battles in a row, or maybe 4 out of 5 battles. And people say that algorithms are myth. I'm just kidding. Am I kidding? I'll let you decide. Of course, we're just going to stay in, as Gyarados has an even worse matchup. We always manage to gain ourselves early shield advantage. The opponent fire off a Mirror Shot again, and Mirror Shot won't be lethal. We're going to look to one and throw. The opponent actually read me like a book. Snipe with Gyarados, a very heads up play from the opponent, denying all of my energy. But as they're on Waterfall, we're just going to respond with our own Gyarados. Most Waterfall Gyarados run Outrage for that Dragon coverage, because of course water is resisted. If the opponent outrage me, so be it. It won't be lethal. The opponent actually bait with the Aqua Tail. They're going to reach one further Aqua Tail, but again, this won't be lethal. This is kind of best case scenario for me, as we're actually going to lead with an Aqua Tail. So I'm looking top right. I don't know if I survive a Volt Switch from this range. If I see Magnezone come in, I'm just going to instantly throw the Aqua Tail. On the off chance we do survive that Volt Switch, we're going to pivot, saving Gyarados as the potential third shield. I pivot into Dragonite, respect the Wild Charge. The opponent baits with the Mirror Shot, and then send out Rhyperior again. This Rhyperior is running Mud Slap. So of course, I'm just going to go straight Super Power. We're going to allow the opponent to throw the Breaking Swipe first, which isn't going to do as much damage as it would do with a -1 defense. We full send the first Super Power. Super Power goes unshielded, and we have a very clear path to victory. Back out comes Magnezone. We're going straight Dragon Claw. The opponent shields the first. They look for that Volt Switch farm down. Dragonite says no, and we manage to pick up yet another win against the mighty UFO. GG's, and thanks for playing. And that is going to draw to a close my favourite team for the Master League Premier Cup. If you've got these Pokemon, give it a try for yourself. I think Empoleon is such a slept on pick. You can see throughout this video it put in so much work. Of course, this variation of the team is very, very weak to a Magnezone, although we did manage to beat a few. Of course, if you don't run Gyarados, you could run something like Garchomp that would give you better coverage into Magnezone. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.